You definitely give the impression that you don't think that you're actively in any way promoting this misinformation and extremism. And I totally disagree with that.
Big tech is caught in a net. If it succumbs to legitimate global and domestic pressure to reinstate Donald Trump's social media accounts, it will be pulled out dry and left to grasp hysterically for air by Democrats and the Biden administration. If it does not reinstate Donald Trump's accounts, the former president would unleash fire and fury upon social media hegemons with his own platform, imperiling their very existence. So, Big Tech is confused. It does not know what to do. Hi, and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Sanbir, and in this video we'll explain how big social media companies are being held to ransom by Democrat legislators as they threaten big tech with dire consequences if American patriots are not censored and silenced. The Democrats have officially begun demanding stringent censorship to be undertaken by big tech companies against conservatives, failing which it is being said the government will intervene and take necessary action to achieve the same on its own accord. The lawmakers portrayed the platforms as rife with disinformation and extremism, which they are unwilling to purge. This is perhaps for the very first time that Democrats, after having their showpiece-like president installed in the Oval Office, are threatening social media companies with government regulation. The possibility of Congress legislating for the purpose of censoring free speech rights of Americans on social media platforms was made amply clear to the heads of Facebook, Twitter, and Google. Democrats have been threatening social media platforms after demands for reinstating former President Donald Trump's personal accounts are gaining heightened traction. Big tech is under severe pressure to restore the handles of Donald Trump, which was suspended after he was falsely accused of instigating the January 6th mob violence at Capitol Hill. Facebook, Twitter, and Google-owned YouTube have begun shaking in their boots since it was officially announced that former President Donald Trump would be launching his own social media platform in order to provide a free space for all freedom-loving people around the world to express themselves without fear. Donald Trump launching his own social media platform or a network altogether could very well spell the death knell of existing social media hegemons in America. Donald Trump does not have followers and admirers in the US alone. So, with the man launching his own social media platform and being the shrewd businessman that he is, Trump could end the glorious run of big tech companies globally with the blink of an eye. And therefore, in order to save themselves from the wrath of Trump's platform, social media companies and their executives who have banned the former president have been making reconciliatory remarks of late. This in an apparent sign of them actively deliberating on restoring Trump's accounts. Yet, Democrats are not liking this approach a tad bit. So, in the desperation of clinging on to power by the forceful silencing of American patriots and conservatives, the liberal legislators have drawn a red line for big tech companies: obey or perish. The likes of Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey are evidently caught in a catch-22 situation and will have to make the tough choice between being obliterated once Donald Trump's social media offering is launched on a global scale or being punished by Democrats for not censoring conservative voices, which they like to call the voices of extremism and disinformation. Big tech executives were threatened during a congressional hearing, no less, a glowing testament of how autocracy is gradually being normalized by Democrats in America. Representative Mike Doyle, chair of the House Subcommittee on Communications and Technology, who hosted the hearing, said, "Our nation is drowning in disinformation driven by social media." Doyle made no secret of the fact that he hates white nationalists, flat earthers, anti-vaxxers, COVID deniers, among the many other adjectivized species he thinks there are in the world. He complained, "You, as in big tech, can take this content down. You can reduce the vision. You can fix this, but you choose not to." Representative Frank Pallone, chair of the House Committee on Energy and Commerce, was rather explicit as he said, "And therefore, it is time for Congress and this committee to legislate and realign these companies' incentives to effectively deal with disinformation and extremism." Facebook's Zuckerberg, Google's Sundar Pichai, and Twitter's Jack Dorsey all faced angry calls from Democrats to do more censoring of what they called misinformation. Meanwhile, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, while claiming that the microblogging site does not have a censoring department, said that Twitter made a total mistake by barring users from sharing the New York Post's bombshell October report about Hunter Biden's emails. It must be remembered that the Hunter Diaries scandal threatened to imperil the Biden campaign, and big tech, aided by mainstream liberal media, worked overtime to cover up for Joe Biden's son. Radical leftist and independent Senator Bernie Sanders too on Tuesday said that he was not comfortable with the permanent banning of Donald Trump by Twitter. After ranting against the former president for who he is, Sanders said in an interview, "But if you're asking me, do I feel particularly comfortable that the then president of the United States, could not express his views on Twitter? I don't feel comfortable about that." He also noted that while Trump was banned, tomorrow it could be somebody else who has a very different point of view. So, I don't like giving that much power to a handful of high-tech people. Not only is big tech under increasing pressure domestically to restore Donald Trump's accounts, but its uncalled for suspension of his handles in the first place has also evoked a strong sense of discomfort globally. Countries like India, Poland, Australia, Russia, Italy, France, Germany and Uganda, among many others, had made it either directly or indirectly known that they were not in favor of big tech exercising way too much authority over what people can and cannot say on their platforms. How big tech wiggles its way out of the current dilemma is something that will be revealed in the coming days.